Hello. How is everybody doing today? You notice I got a new shower curtain. Feeling very fancy thanks to a friend who had this made for me. I love it. It's yeah, it was a really good feeling to get, that someone took the time to like do that and send it to me. I'm very appreciative, so thank you. You know who you are. Chaotic, Professor Pug, Chris, Jinx. Glad to have you here. And Jinx is a new sub. Gaslight You. Always a pleasure. Angel Bear. Chaotic Beauty and Crime. Jamie is here. She's just been a badass all over on her channel helping us that don't know any better. So it's been fun watching her channel. If you haven't checked it out, you should. Southern Lady, glad you're here. Okay, Crime Geek. The Hawk. Hello. It's a new day. What's up? Cheryl. Hello. Danielle. Hi. How are you doing? And I didn't know how. So I think I've done some shows on Sunday afternoons, and they seem to be okay as long as you're not doing it like earlier in the day. But yeah, so I'm going to start by reading what an injunction for protection in the county is, just very briefly, so that you kind of know like what you're about to hear and like what it is. So there's no question on that. What's this? They changed stuff. Good Lord. Barely learned like how to use the other one before they change it to something different. So can you guys see that? Okay. All right. Injunctions for protection. What is an injunction? You have the right to file a petition to ask the court to issue an injunction to protect you against violence. The injunction process is a civil court process and is not a part of the criminal court proceeding. An injunction is different than a criminal no-contact order. An injunction is a court order against another person who has been physically violent with you or has placed you in fear of physical violence. The purpose is to require him or her to stay away from your home, your car, your place of employment, and other places the court finds necessary. Also, injunctions can order the other person not to contact you by phone, in writing, by email, or in person. Injunctions can include other relief that the court feels is appropriate. And there are 4 types of injunctions. So you have a domestic violence one, a sexual violence one, a dating violence, and repeat violence. So what happens? 3 things can happen after you file the petition. So the petition was filed. It will be read in this audio towards the end. The judge can enter a temporary injunction for protection. The judge can enter an order setting hearing only. This means that there is no injunction in effect until the hearing. The other person will be served with a copy. And number 2 is what occurred in this situation, I do believe. And then the judge can deny the petition and should give reasons in writing why the petition was denied. The other person will not be served with a copy. You can file a supplemental petition and add on any other information that you think you may have left out the first time, or that may make a difference in the decision. So what Greeno is saying that he has a order of protection against me for covering his true crime case, and it was denied. So I've showed that over and over again. He's added on some kind of green paper form and no claw. I don't know what he's talking about, but I've called them. They said that's not true. You can believe me or you cannot believe me at this point. Like, um, believing that guy is just like, you might as well believe that, like, it's like believing in something that is just absolutely ludicrous, you know? Like, to believe anything that he says thus far, like, based on past behavior, like, and he's already out just lying and lying about, you know? So, how do you properly defend yourself against someone like that? And you all saw the thumbnail and what it said. So basically, he's saying that there is no charges, and he is correct about that. There is no criminal charge. I just read you what this is. Now, well, let's read. What happens if the injunction is violated? If you're in immediate danger, call 911. You should also contact the clerk of court to file an affidavit describing the violence. Victims should carry the protection order with them at all times. An injunction for protection is a civil court order. However, a respondent who does not abide by all of the conditions of the protection order may face criminal charges or contempt of court. So, anybody have any questions thus far? Hey, Unmasked Truth, how are you doing? Yes, Professor Pug, I did speak with a lawyer, and she said that I have enough for a defamation of character. I have more than enough for a defamation of character civil suit. But she didn't think that as of right now, although he's said more things, including that one doozy about, let's see, let me just find it. It was a real good one. Yeah. The thing is, I don't have to make things up to get views. She is riding my popularity. No one even cares. Believe me, I embrace the fact I've got 7 felonies. That means I'm not someone to F with. It's got 2 asterisks, but I think we can all agree to what he's trying to say there. Basically using intimidation tactics to get other people to be quiet, because that's what he needs to flourish, is for others to be silent. And I have seen or was sent that there might be a new, the new next girlfriend. So I felt like this was kind of important to get this out there and just let you hear it. We will pause occasionally throughout, but I want to respect the integrity of this being a court hearing and play that without affecting the integrity of the actual of it in its entirety. I think that's important. So, yeah. Yeah, Freckle Joy. I don't know. That's it's weird. It's definitely a question that I have as well. And then I did ask because the petition that he put out against me was just absolute. It's just false. Like, it didn't happen. I've talked about that before. So by him putting it out, I was able to prove that it is not anything a new one. It is the same one that I got from Carroll County courts. So that's why, because he put that out on his page. Like, I have enough for defamation because those are lies. And then obviously the stuff that he's saying about my character as far as violating said fake petition protection order, and the fact that he is defaming my name by insinuating a relationship between the two of us, which is just so offensive. Like, yeah. And I feel like this, hopefully, like I did with, he insinuated it on a Greeno radio, which he took down, which, of course I recorded that. He went on a rant about, how he's the victim in all of this. And I don't know how many times someone can cry victim before people just absolutely just don't believe them. He even put out a video that he did not give any, not even any credit for it, but he, basically just read word for word and tried to make it look like his old video. He just did that like this week. But if you remember prior to that, he's done that several times with the Hannah Wilson case, with the CeCe Moore, Megan, when Megan, I can't remember her last name. Megan, what is her name? But she interviewed CeCe Moore, and he edited out her voice, wrote down what she said, and then pretended like he was the one that was asking CeCe Moore those questions. Like, he's definitely not changed, and it seems like it's just gonna be, I do have to say that I do not agree with the videos that are made about him as far as being BG. BG, which is the dumbest name ever, which is appropriate, but they've told us that is Richard Allen. So we have to believe what they say until further statements are made by law enforcement. And yeah, it is super frustrating because they do seem to imply things, and they're really good. It's like they all go to an academy to learn how to read, to like tell you something without telling you anything. Does that make sense? It gets pretty frustrating when you're dealing with statements made by law enforcement on just about anything. But hey, Anna, how are you? I always love your comments. All right, so without further ado, we are going to roll this, and let me know on the audio. There are some parts that are hard to hear, especially in the beginning, but the judge will like ask her to speak up. Nothing has been altered in this audio except for the names and addresses, phone numbers of individuals that are talked about in the hearing. You will hear one phone number, and that is his chirp phone so you'll hear that phone number, and that is the phone number for his he had a chirp, which is basically like a way for inmates to communicate via text message through the Carroll County Jail, and I believe they have that in Miami County too. But so that's what he had, and let's just go ahead and get started. Buckle up.
Court calls Brianne versus, I'm not sure, R-E-N-E, Greeno, G-R-E-E-N-O. I have somebody appearing from the Cass County Jail. Sir, can you tell me your name?
Anthony Greeno.
What is it?
Anthony Greeno.
Do you have another name that you're also known as?
Rainey Anthony.
Rainey Anthony. Got it. All right, you are present. Hello, come on in. Appearing from the Cass County Jail in what state, sir?
Indiana.
Indiana. All right, give us just a few minutes and we're going to get the courtroom set up. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good. All right, folks, we are here today in case number 2022 DR 3928. I've had the respondent identify himself. I see him audio and video from Cass County Jail in the state of Indiana. Present in the courtroom, can I please have the lady seated in front of me identify for the record? Present and represented by counsel. All right, and if we could have the attorney please place her name on the record.
Attorney, counsel for petitioner.
All right. Today is a hearing set on our violence protection docket here in Manatee County, Florida. Seeking an order for protection against stalking. Anthony Greeno is the respondent. Both are present. How long are you seeking the injunction for? Indefinitely. And Mr. Greeno, are you objecting to the entry of a civil injunction for protection against stalking, or do you desire to, I'm sorry, I might have misstated that. Are you agreeing to the entry of a civil injunction for protection, or are you requiring an evidentiary hearing?
Requiring an evidentiary hearing.
All right, I'm going to ask both parties, please raise your right hand. I'm going to place you both under oath. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, both parties can put their hands down. I see that we do have someone in the courtroom. Is this a witness or just moral support?
Moral support.
Very good. All right, and sir, do you have anybody with you where you're located, or are you in a room by yourself?
Not myself.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. The petitioner's burden to prove that she has been a victim of stalking entitled to the injunction, sir. Couple of just quick points. I have no idea why you're in jail. If you're in jail for any reason related to any allegations that Ms. make today, even though this is a civil courtroom, I would remind you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Everything that is said in this civil courtroom is being recorded, and anyone, including but not limited to the state attorney seeking to prosecute you for any crimes, will have the ability to request the sworn testimony offered in court today. With that in mind, is it your position to provide testimony, sir?
Yes.
And you're waiving your right to remain silent?
Yes.
Okay. What will happen is the petitioner will present her case first. After the petitioner presents her first witness, you will have the opportunity to cross-examine if you choose to do so. Cross-examination, by definition, requires questions. It's not a time to make statements or make arguments. It's an opportunity to ask questions. As a pro se litigant, you may ask questions of the witness, or you can choose to not ask questions and just tell me your side of the story when the case is presented to you. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, I'm just going to ask not to interrupt, allow her to present her testimony. If there's any formal objections, I will hear those as they come up. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Both parties are under oath, and I'm ready when you are.
Is my client, since he's on Zoom?
That's
sit
fine.
there?
If you're comfortable with it, I am.
Oh, I'm fine.
Okay.
Can you please state your name for the court? Can you hear her?
I can, but I think I'm going to ask her to speak a little closer to that microphone to make sure that the respondent is able to hear. She sounds a little soft-spoken. Brianne? Thank you.
I never have that problem.
Me neither.
And do you currently reside in Manatee County?
Yes.
Okay. And did you file a petition for injunction against stalking?
Yes.
And, Your Honor, I would just ask the court to take judicial notice of the petition. I can have it. I'm just going to ask her to authenticate it if you want to.
Sure, I can take judicial notice of the fact the petition has been filed. You want that introduced into evidence?
Let's go ahead since she's testifying.
All right, so what I'm not gonna consider any inadmissible hearsay, but I will receive it with that understanding.
Yes.
Okay? That'll be petitioners 1, please. All right.
Do you recall filing that petition? And was that petition true and correct at the time you filed it?
Yes.
And is it still so?
Yes.
Are you asking the court for a indefinite injunction against Mr. Greeno for stalking and cyberstalking?
Yes.
And is that based on threats he's made to you and or family?
Yes.
Has Mr. Greeno made verbal threats to you?
Yes.
When, and has that been during the time in which he's been incarcerated?
Yes.
And was that using the phone that he has in jail?
Yes.
Did you also communicate with him in that phone via text message?
Yes.
And is the phone number for that 1-765-400-1978?
Yes.
And is it your understanding he's the only inmate with that phone?
Yes.
When did he threaten you on the phone?
It was in mid-May,
Of,
2022.
and what was the threat that he made?
We were arguing and he cut me short and said, "I'll kill you," and then he just stopped talking. Shut off the call. I was so mad I couldn't hear.
Okay.
Can you actually speak a little closer to that microphone? I think the microphone may be able to come closer to you.
Do you want me to restate that?
Please.
So we were arguing, and I don't even remember over what, but he cut me short because I was getting upset, and then he said, "I'll kill you." And then I got so upset I hung up the phone, and then we stopped talking for a while. I blocked him, and then we got unblocked.
And after that, did you resume texting with him?
Yes.
And were these texts on this number that we've been discussing that he has through the court?
Yes.
Okay. Or through the jail? I apologize. And for the purposes of the record, what is your phone number? So, go ahead and just have these. Sorry, composite, etc.
You can mark those as composite 2, please.
I'm showing you what's been marked as composite 2. Can you tell me what this is?
An argument between Anthony and I.
Okay, are these text messages between you and the respondent?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the time frame during which these text messages occurred?
This was in May
Of this year?
2022. Yes.
And was this at or around the time of the verbal threat that you received?
Yes.
Was this after?
Right after, within we had talked a few times and texted like a week, a few days after, yes.
Okay. In these text messages, does he make threats to you?
Yes.
Okay. What threats does he make?
Basically that whoever deceives him, they're all hit, and I'm right here, he's stating that he will beat me, kick my ass, or slap me around, quote unquote, and it's so many different.
Okay. So let's on the second page, what does he threaten?
He's basically saying, ask my ex what happened to her, and ask what happened to her. Why don't you ask the last person who tried to keep my stuff? And
What would be very helpful to me is if the testimony just related exactly what was said. It
Yeah.
seems like we're trying to.
Now, can you read the
Okay.
these two texts, please?
this is me talking. I said, I'm not taunting
No,
you.
that has to be.
Oh, down here?
Keyword.
Okay. It will only be way worse for you and everyone else. All you had to do was not say anything like that yesterday, but you did, and that kept at it. You tried to taunt me, piss me off, fuck with my belongings. Why don't you ask the last person who tried to keep my stuff? Ask her what happened to her, and I've been here the whole time. I am not a man to try to screw with. My stories add up. You don't see how going through my shit is wrong, and
So, as this continues,
you want me to keep reading?
can you please read these two texts that he sent to you?
Anyone who pushes me and pushes me should be scared of me, because I literally don't give a fuck when I'm pushed to the limit, but you aren't going anywhere, you're stuck. That's why I keep telling you, the more I'm pushed, the crazier I will get. I warn and warn people to stop, and then they continue to do it until I snap.
If I could just make sure I'm still in the right timeline, I'm in May of 2022.
Yes.
All right. If that changes, please let me know.
I will, Your Honor. I would ask that composite 2 be entered.
He's going to have an opportunity to see the evidence and advise if there's any objections to the admissibility. So, did you bring a laptop by any chance?
I did.
Okay. Can you screen share or no? If not, it's going to involve a camera. Let me just ask the responder, are there any objections to the admissibility of the text messages coming in? In other words, do you believe they haven't been properly authenticated, or are you comfortable with the text messages being entered into evidence that she just testified to?
I would like to see them first before.
Yep, you have the right to do that. Do you need a minute to get that set up?
I guess, do I need to go into the Zoom? I just need the Zoom information.
If you go on the 12th Judicial Circuit's website and go under My Information, you'll be able to get the Zoom meeting. The only other thing I can think of, since we're only in testimony from May and we're in December, I didn't know if you wanted to keep going with testimony and then determine what evidence you wanted to physically admit, or?
I can continue with testimony and then deal with the admission after the fact.
Yeah, because I have her testimony in that'll be subject to cross about what was said in May, so as you know, we don't have a ton of time on our injunction dockets, so.
Let me continue.
Okay. All right, so at this time, I'm not receiving any physical evidence. I've only received the testimony as to what the physical evidence purports to say. That has been received. Thank you.
this, and he kept.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 3. Is this one of your, if not your last contact with him in May before cutting him off?
I would have to go back, but I believe so.
Okay. Can you please read, starting here, the text messages from him to you?
He's not seeing me again. I haven't forgot what your mom did either. Whoever you try to date from this point forward will be hurt. I'll blast them all over the web, and I will ruin their lives like mine has been ruined, just like you feel because of all the hate associated with me. I'll do the same to them, get my stuff, because I'm relentless when it comes to vengefulness. Figure it out. I can't control you, but I can whoop someone's ass, so give me what I need and I'll leave you be, but until then just know it can be really bad. So please don't force me to do this. You literally made me crazy and people will be horrified at the craziness.
Can you also read that last?
Just remember, I'll find out and you will be the one to create that agony.
Now, after May, did there come a time when you received additional text messages from Mr. Reno?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
After that text message, after a period of time of no contact, did he contact you again?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell me the date of the highlighted text message?
July 19th, 2022.
What is the text that he sent to you?
No one is paying for it. Stop it. You know I'll be showing up whatever you are when I'm out for you. I'm not really sure what he said. It's like he's trying to say to show up.
What did you take that to mean?
It doesn't matter if he's getting it or not. He's going to show up.
That he's going to come for you when he gets up?
Was that a yes?
Yes, he said.
Okay, that's okay. We just record everything, so you have to answer out loud.
And several weeks later, did you receive another text from him?
Yes.
And what was the date of that text?
August 4th.
And what was the text?
I'll see you when I get out.
Now, this was after having received multiple threats previously in May, and then him starting up again now. Did he previously, during the course of your relationship, threaten that he had nudes of you
Yeah.
and threatened to disseminate them?
Yes.
Do you have a associate or friend in common?
Yes.
Okay. Is that
Yes.
and is phone number one? Your Honor, I would like to put into evidence these are chirps, text messages from defendant to this individual, but they are threats against my client.
Objection, Your Honor. That's hearsay evidence. The right to a confrontation clause. Not here to testify.
They're the defendant's comments. We are not seeking to enter comments. These are threats the defendant made. He and my client, I can lay more foundation, but essentially he asked to talk to my client, made threats about my client with the intention of it being passed on to my client. I believe that under the cyber stalking, it falls under the statute.
Objection, Your Honor. They should have presented as a witness today. To determine the context of which I spoke, the context of which.
Are you certain that he's not here to testify?
Yes, ma'am.
You're certain?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Testify?
He's not here to testify, Your Honor. We are only seeking to enter the defendant's comments.
Yeah. So
his text messages.
I don't think that's hearsay. I'm trying to figure out the admissibility.
The admissibility, Your Honor, is, I'm sorry, this goes back to the defendant has been using during all of this a phone through the jail system that is monitored and handled by Combined Public Communications. These text messages are a result of a subpoena. I have a certification of business records for those.
Okay.
I have, they sent me a flash drive, so I have the flash drive and the original certification. I have printed what I believe to be the pertinent text messages from that, but they are all pursuant to this certification of business records from the company that takes care of and records all of the things. So they are admissible as an exception under that, and they are also defendant statements made. I am not seeking to admit any statements made by any other third party, only statements made by the defendant to a third party, which we believe the intent was in order to pass on to my client.
Okay, well, so unless there's a stipulation under the business records exception, is there a stipulation?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, I'm asking you, are you stipulating under the business records exception to hearsay and that is the foundation? She has a certification. If not, you need to see it, and you can check to see if you've got an objection to it being valid. But there's, okay. So do you want to hang tight again on that one and keep going on testimony, or what do you think?
The certification itself, I have a copy that can be shown.
Okay,
on
great.
page.
Great.
So the original certification, I'm not sure where to show it, but that can be shown to the defendant.
Do you want to do that via screen share? Do you have it on your laptop? Or
I do.
Because I think that would be best to do a screen share.
So I can finish my client's testimony and then we'll get to that.
Okay.
Did you receive records from Combined Public Communications that were made, communications made by Mr. Greeno to you and other parties from jail?
Yes.
In those communications, does he make threats against you to a third party?
Yes.
Is that third party?
Yes.
And as part of the comments that are made by him, did he do them, did he ask to speak to you?
Yes.
And did you in fact learn about these comments as a result of that?
Yes.
Were these threats, what were some of the threats that he made?
That he was going to blast my nudes all over, and that he has them in the phone that he got arrested with, and I think other things I just can't think right now if I read it.
And were these threats made, when were these threats made specifically?
I think it was earlier in the year, and then also over the September and October, I believe, he was still texting, things like that.
Okay, so the threats were still being made in September.
Correct.
When you learned of those threats, is that what prompted you to file for an injunction?
Yes.
And do you believe that he intended for those threats to be passed on to you, that he intended them to be directed to you?
Yes.
Did he also make threats against your mother?
Yes.
Why do you believe he is angry at your mother?
Because she got him arrested and then he got extradited.
Okay. Did he reference that he blames your mother in his text messages to you?
Yes, several times.
So he's previously told you he blames your mother for his current situation.
Yes.
Did he also, do you have any minor children?
Yes.
And did he make threats of harm against your minor children?
I believe so, yes.
Are those children the two of you have in common?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they're not included. Are you afraid for your safety as we sit here today?
Yes. Trembling, I'm sorry.
Do you, so we've discussed over a period of, just from May to September, over a period of 4 months, we've discussed at least 5 or 6 instances of threats he's made against you. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you believe that he is, or strike that, have these threats caused you emotional distress?
Yes.
Can you tell the court how they've caused you distress?
I lost so many hours of sleep. I haven't taken this many time at work. I've had to miss work at the court. I've had to take time out to go through all of these documents, and I had a minor eating disorder.
Did you, have you made any changes to security at your house?
Yes, on top of that, yes.
Okay, can you tell the court what steps you took after filing this petition?
I've had to get, put cameras outside and inside of my house more than I already had, and got little alarm systems on all of my windows and doors.
And did you do that as a result of the threats that you received from Mr. Greeno?
Yes, and I made note that where I live will be gated, and they have cameras on every light post, and I still don't even feel safe.
Okay. Do you take additional precautions when going to work?
Yes. You have to put cameras outside the front door and the back door of the office.
Before you move on, I might have interrupted. I just wanted to double check. What were the threats that you believe he made against your children? What was the nature of those threats?
She brings them up. He was mad at because his YouTube got shut down, and it was right in between all of this happening in September with him contacting me again. And he said, whoever defies me, like he told me earlier in May, and then you said he's so mad at all the things that I've said or I've done against him that pissed him off, and now he's mad that YouTube, he said he's going to kidnap their children, beat them and torture them to death. And he said to anybody that defied him. And that's why I believe he doesn't care, he's going crazy. And it's all in there.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. All right, go ahead. Next question.
Your Honor, at this point, I think we're getting into the text messages by the third party to
Okay.
defendant's comments. So I don't know if we need to address the evidentiary issue first before her testimony.
Well, my suggestion, in light of our time constraints on days like this, is you get through as much live testimony as possible, and then perhaps, did you bring any other witnesses today, or is it just her?
No, just her.
And then maybe I'll allow cross-examination, and then if you need to present the evidence, perhaps in rebuttal, let's reserve for that. But is there any other oral testimony you think you can work through before you tender the witness?
Yes, just a few more things.
Okay.
So when you found out, you stated that you're part of what prompted you to file this injunction was becoming aware of threats that the defendant made about you to another party. Did you become aware of those threats?
Yes,
What were some of the threats that were made?
that he would, quote, slap me around, beat my ass, and blast my nudes.
And did he make those threats multiple times?
Yes,
And was this after he had texted you directly telling you that he would see you when he got out?
yes,
And after filing for the injunction, have you had any more contact with him?
no,
Do you believe that if the court were to dismiss this injunction, that he would begin contacting you again?
probably,
And are you concerned for your safety that he's going to continue to harass you?
yes,
Do you believe that you need the court to enter this injunction in order to protect you from the stalking and harassment that you've received?
yes, please.
At this time, Your Honor, I would let him.
Yeah, I'm going to allow you to reserve to introduce any other physical evidence. I had a couple follow-ups before the witness is tendered. Because the stalking statute's quite specific, some of the comments from the respondent were about his things or his personal property. Were you two in a relationship? Did you live
Yes.
together?
No,
Do you have his things?
I have half a closet full of his things because he was down here on the run from a warrant, but he just brought his computer and a few electronics and some clothes.
Okay, so there are some personal items of his that are at your house.
Correct.
Okay, and the two of you don't share minor children together?
No, ma'am.
And is there any other reason that the two of you would have communication other than he doesn't want anyone messing with his things?
Yes, and he doesn't have money to send it. He says he does, and he doesn't. And I'm sending it to his father that's going to be paying for it. But there's also things that are on his computer that he has my nudes somewhere, and it's on the phone that he's been arrested with because I have that confirmed on text messages through the church. But then he's also done revenge porn to his exes, and that's why I've been steered the whole time with his computer. Which reasons why I don't want to give him the bullets to his gun.
Okay, all right, thank you.
That's hearsay.
Overruled.
It's not when it's
Hold on,
training.
I'm overruling the objection. Sir, it's your turn to ask questions, go ahead.
Your Honor, can I ask
Oh.
a couple follow-ups just based on what you
Sure.
just...
Yep.
You heard the judge discuss the statute regarding stalking. Is there you stated you have some of his things. Is threatening to harm you or your family or threatening to put your nudes up on the internet, is that a reasonable way in which to get anything back from you?
I told him several times no.
Okay. So if his contact, do you believe the threats are outside of his attempts to get his stuff back?
Sorry, one more time.
Do you believe that the threats are outside of him just trying to get his things back, that he's threatening you in addition to that?
I think he's threatening in addition to harass me. Exactly.
Okay.
It's not just that.
Okay. Nothing further.
All right, sir, cross-examination, your opportunity to question the witness.
Yes, Your Honor, I do have one question for you prior to that. I believe that there's testimony on those text messages between her and I that needs to be presented as well. But I believe all text messages should be shown to the court, not just a small amount.
Okay, so none of them have been shown because there was no stipulation to allow them in. Do you wish now to stipulate to allow them in, or do you want to cross-examine and then give me your side of the story? I have no written text messages. I have no physical evidence other than the petition.
Okay, I'll cross-examine.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Do you remember how we met?
Yes.
Can you explain to the court how we met?
Via your YouTube.
YouTube. And I was living in Indiana, is that correct?
Yes.
And when did we actually meet in person?
The week of Christmas.
Would December 21st be accurate?
I believe so, yes.
Of what year, please?
2021.
And were we in a relationship as boyfriend-girlfriend?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and when is the last time that you saw me?
January 25th or 26th, 2022.
And that was the date of my arrest, correct?
Correct.
Did we ever reside together?
No.
But we did engage in a sexual relationship, correct?
Yes.
Okay. At any time while we were physically present with each other, did I physically harm you?
Objection relevance, statute doesn't require that and we're not seeking it.
Sustain.
Did I threaten you?
Not that I remember, no.
Were you in fear for your life while I was in your presence?
No, but you didn't need to do that at the time.
Were you in fear for your children's lives while I was in your presence?
No, but I am now.
So are you talking about whether she was in fear in January of 2022? Is that the question?
From the period of December until January
Okay.
when we were in person together, yes.
Yep, got it. Okay, go ahead.
And after my arrest, did you maintain communication with me while I was incarcerated at the jail?
Sorry, one more time?
Since January of 2022, did you remain in contact with me while I've been incarcerated in the jail?
Throughout the year, yes.
And when did that conversation cease?
Which one? We stopped talking a lot.
When's the last time that we spoke?
I'm just gonna request a type of communication, like spoke as in text or spoke as in on the phone.
All right, could you clarify?
Text messaging.
Okay. Last time you spoke via text, ma'am.
I think it was on my phone. I think it was like September when he threatened all these things, and then I stopped talking to you.
Okay. And you stated that in May that I verbally threatened to kill you, and you had blocked me for a minute and then unblocked me. Can you explain to the court the reason for the unblocking?
Because I was in a relationship with you, and I wanted to believe you. But this is not your first offense. Do you want me to bring up all these felony battery charges with deadly weapon with your ex?
Objection, irrelevant to the question.
I mean,
She's answering the question.
I'm scared now,
Okay.
so I didn't know about that before, but now I do.
And upon being aware of what you claim circumstances with my ex, is that what prompted you to file the injunction?
Objection, mischaracterization, testimony, she already testified what prompted her.
Overruled. She can answer.
Sorry, one more time.
What you learned about with his ex, is that what prompted you to file the injunction?
Not just that. No, I found out about this a couple months ago. I actually dug deeper into things, but it wasn't. It was from people telling me you need to do something about this, and that's what prompted me. You told me not to file the protection order in May because it would just be worse for me.
And did we maintain a relationship after that time period?
For like 2 more months, and it was very rocky, and you just kept harassing me when I told you to stop and leave me alone.
But during that time period, did you tell me that you love me and continue accepting phone calls and continue texting me?
Can we just clarify what time period?
Sure. What time period is this question related to, sir?
After May, in between May and September 2022.
The question was, did you tell him you loved him and accept his phone calls between May and September of 2022?
Not in September 22. I was done with you in like July or June. So that's a stretch. We were done in June 2022, and I was trying to be amicable with you, and I told you that, but then you kept threatening me, and I told you, you don't threaten me.
Did you upon receiving these text messages from the facility that I haven't been able to see yet, but upon receiving these, did that
And just to be clear, I haven't either. There's nothing in evidence. You know what I know, what she's testified to, sir. So that's why I'm giving you the opportunity to cross-examine. I've received nothing as physical evidence.
Okay. Did the you claim that you spoke with an individual?
Correct.
And after speaking with him, you claim that that is when you filed the injunction. Is that correct?
Correct. And other people were telling me they aren't here, so we can't go.
Correct. I'm just asking about, because in the original petition, you wrote that a mutual friend of ours, that I sent text messages to a mutual friend of ours, and that's what prompted you to get the injunction. So is that true, or is it what you stated earlier?
I just answered yes, correct.
Okay. So without hearing any testimony from, you wouldn't have requested an injunction, is that correct?
That, and I was trying to do this back in May, so it confirmed that I should have done this half of a year ago.
I'm confused. Was there another court hearing where testimony was offered?
No, back
Oh,
in
okay.
May,
Okay.
I was texting, that when after you said he was going to kill me, I said I'm going to tell the sheriff, and yeah.
I'm sorry, he asked about testimony, and so I didn't know if I missed a hearing. Okay, all right.
No, I'm not hearing.
Okay, all right.
And you were aware that I'm incarcerated until March, is that correct?
Correct, but that doesn't mean that I'm not terrified of what you're doing.
Okay, and can you read the last alleged text message that you believe that we've had, the last two text messages between you and I? Do you have those documents in front of you?
We have everything, yes. What would you like?
Can you read the last two?
Could you give us dates, please, and we could see if there's been something pre-marked that could be handed to the witness to answer your question?
September, I'm not sure, probably early September 2022. I'm not sure without seeing the document.
Yes, you're begging to get your things back, and I tell you that you will basically get it back eventually. And then, because I'm not going to get the bullets to someone who has a gun, metaphorically speaking, and then you are texting, prompting you what to say that are not on your own accounts. You're mimicking what she's telling you to tell me because that's not on your own account. She's trying to help you get help from me. And then you're texting that you're going to blast my nudes because I'm pissing you off. Do you want to go through that? That's fine.
Okay. The nudes that we're speaking of, when did you send those to me? What's the time frame?
What are you talking about? The news for what?
The nude photographs and videos that you sent to me, when did you send those?
Deleted them off of my own phone and Facebook, but that was between November 4th and January 26th. And I do know you have them because they were on text messages through Chirps, through our authentication, that you do have them.
And, okay, so from November to December, you sent those text messages prior to my arrival, is that correct?
What's your point? Yes.
And upon my arrival, the cell phone that I had that had your nudes on it, can you explain to the court what happened to that cell phone?
I may object. I don't know how she would have personal knowledge of what happened to the cell phone.
She had personal knowledge of the cell phone.
If she has personal knowledge, she can answer the question, and if she doesn't, then the objection would be appropriate. Do you have personal knowledge, ma'am?
I do, ma'am, Your Honor. So he put it in the kiosk because he wanted to get away from jail. So he put his own old phone, but then we bought a new phone that he paid for at Metro PCS. There's text messages that he's sending to people. At the same time, he's trying to be nice to me, saying that he has my nudes, that this dumb bitch is going to blast them all over the internet, and they're in the, and I already sent this to the sheriff's department here, because he does have it, and it's in the, he specifically says it's with, when he got arrested. The phone that we got from Metro PCS, it's in there, and probably in your computer somewhere.
Have you ever seen it in my phone?
Wait, I'm just going to object at this point as to relevance. Regardless of whether or not he actually has them or intends to do anything with them, the statute specifically says that there is no requirement to show that they have that they intended to actually carry out the threat. She knows that she sent him nudes. She has testified that he has threatened to blast them, and that's sufficient for the statute.
I think it's relevant to determine whether or not her fears are reasonable under the statute. But I don't understand the question, quite frankly. I don't understand it.
Basically, how I'm trying to phrase this, Your Honor, is the nudes that she's claiming were on a specific cell phone that was turned in by her and myself together into a kiosk in order to sell the phone and get the cash for the phone. So she knows that those
Okay,
those
so
photographs are
all
gone.
right. So tell me what the question is. Ask the question specifically.
Were those nudes on that phone that we submitted to the kiosk?
Okay.
You're trying to act like you didn't have two phones.
Just answer the question and we can get through
nudes
it.
on that, and I kept texting you nudes. We were sexting because you were an hour and a half away, and when you were in North Fort Myers. So you also got sexting on that as well.
Guys,
Stop acting like
I
you
do
don't
have to interrupt.
Yes.
We are here on the four corners of a petition that starts September 10th through September 14th. I've given a little bit of leeway to get back to May, but we're back to before you guys even got together. I have to stay within the four corners of this petition. So, sir, you know what the allegations are, and this is your opportunity to cross, but this can't go on indefinitely.
And what was the dates that you said from the petition, Your Honor?
You don't have the petition, sir?
No, they didn't give me a copy of it.
You weren't served with this petition when you wrote back and said you wanted a hearing?
I was given a copy, and then when I was moved from one facility to the next, they took all the documentation that I had.
Would you like me to read it into the record?
Yes, please.
Between September 10th, 2022 and September 14th, 2022, the following incidents of stalking occurred. Texts or chirps he used while in jail to people that stated he will kill mass people that defy him. He stated he will kidnap our kids and families and torture them until they die. He was texting me at the same time he is texting a person who relayed this information. He was worried for me because talking / referring to me and my family. My parents got him arrested, and now I broke up with him. He is also saying he is a serial killer in the text. He is to never post a picture of me or my family online. He has posted his ex's nudes online after they broke up, and I'm scared he is trying to sextort me. I have evidence of him doing that to his exes on his computer, and also texted that he will post my nudes online to his friend while in jail. Check his chirp history.
So from September 10th to the 14th. Okay.
I mean, that's when she's saying that these
That these allegations.
But that you guys met or in person in December, and I've got, you need to focus your questions, sir, on why you're not stalking her. Why is she not a victim of stalking?
Well, she's not.
Like that's what the questions are, right? It's not a character assassination. That's the questions. That's what you have to demonstrate. She
Correct.
thinks she's a victim of stalking, and you don't, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Okay.
So, I guess what I was trying to do is show some history, Your Honor, as to what led up to this, and that some of the allegations are based on things that happened prior to September 10th through the 14th, is what she's claiming. So, I'm sorry.
I'm just, you're still on cross-examination, and so I'm just trying to keep us moving.
So, repeatedly over the course of from May until September, have I repeatedly asked you for my belongings back that you are currently holding?
Yes, and I repeatedly said, where are my nudes? And then I found out they're on your phone that you got arrested with in your possession in Indiana.
So
there was more on your computer.
So are you holding my belongings because you want copies of these nude photographs?
Yes.
So that's why you will not give me my belongings, is that correct?
Yes. If someone has a gun, why would you give them a bullet?
Okay. But you understand that those are my personal belongings.
And so are my nudes.
No further questions.
All right. Any redirect?
No,
Okay. Sir, did you wish to call any witnesses?
Just provide testimony on my own behalf.
All right, go ahead. You're under oath.
Yes, ma'am. If we look at the text messages, if they are admitted,
They're not admitted.
even if she admits to herself on her testimony that she has my belongings, and I've repeatedly asked for my belongings back, and any arguments that have happened between her and I are solely based on the belongings that she has of mine. I believe the last text messages were me asking for my belongings. The last time I spoke to her, I did ask for my belongings. I have an individual who's willing to pay for them with my own money. She mentioned Julie is willing to do that. Julie reached out to her by email. I have reached out to her by letter. I have reached out to her by text messaging and by phone calls to request my personal belongings. I have no desire to speak to Ms. I haven't spoken to her in some time. I could have called her up until today's date because there was no injunction. I haven't done so. I haven't written her letters. I am not stalking her. I do not even live in the same state as her, nor do I intend on residing in Florida. It was a short period of time. We knew each other for less than a month in physical person. We spoke more from a jail than we did in person. I would not harm her. I've never harmed her. I do not have any nude photographs of her, and I would not post any nude photographs of her. And so I don't feel that there's a need for an injunction because I'm not stalking her. I'm not stalking her. I'm not conditioning her for sex. I'm not going to harm her in any kind of way.
You're not letting her for sex? I'm sorry.
Yeah. In the
You're not
statute
what?
here in front of me in Indiana, stalking, the statute here says that it's also conditioning an individual for sexual purposes.
I don't know what I don't know that the statutory definition in the state of Indiana is relevant to the state of Florida. Is there any other testimony you want to offer, though, before you get to closings?
I just don't think that there should be an injunction because I'm not going to be returning to Florida. She has no reason to fear. The only thing I've been asking is for my belongings, and in the court's decision, I'm going to ask that the court, order her to return my personal belongings to an address specified by me, which an individual is going to pay for those belongings, without damage or alteration to those items.
All right. Okay, did you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Sir, is it your testimony then that you have not made any threats against my client?
I've not made any threats to your client.
Ever?
No.
Have you made threats about her to a third party?
No.
So would it surprise you to, did you send the following text from your phone in jail? Plus, little does that bitch know, I got 6 videos of her I'm gonna blast all over the internet, since she hurt my feelings so bad and thought she controlled me. Did you send that text message through the jail system?
I couldn't be sure. I don't have it in front of me.
Can I show you a document that might refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Can you see that screen, sir?
Yes.
At the second to last, at the bottom of the screen, is that an outbound text on August 13th, 2022, at 11:37:06 a.m.?
Yes.
And outbound meaning a text from the phone that you have in your jail?
Yes.
And does that text message read exactly as I stated?
Yes.
So you sent that text message.
Yes.
So you sent a text message threatening her to a third party.
It doesn't threaten her.
You don't believe that threatening to post her sex videos all over the internet is threatening to hurt her or cause her emotional distress?
Emotional distress, yes, but I didn't say it to her. I was venting to a friend.
You were venting to a friend.
Yes.
And is it your testimony then that you've never made threats to her directly?
Correct.
And that friend that you, quote, vented to, did you also ask that friend to contact my client on your behalf?
Yes.
And did you make other threats about my client to that individual?
Be more specific.
Did you make statements in text to this individual who you asked to contact my client on your behalf about my client?
Could you show me what you're referring to?
Stop sharing. Can you see that screen?
Yes.
Okay. And the first text message at the top, September 10th, sent to the third party that we've been discussing. You see, do you consider I'm hurt bad by her and need her to just quit being a cunt and give me my shit? Otherwise, it will be getting to the point she doesn't want it to get and she's making me a monster. I hope she dies in a crash and I bust a nut on her dad's face. Fuck, I'm mad. No one does this to me without me responding. Are those text messages sent from your personal jail cell phone to a third party about
Yes.
your ex-girlfriend?
Yes.
But you don't believe that those are threats?
No. It's asking for my belongings back and stating that I am mad.
Hoping she dies in a crash and you bust a nut on her dad's face is an appropriate response to being mad about your things?
I think any private conversation that I have with another individual is private conversation and not subject to threatening anybody.
But did you ask this individual to contact her on your behalf after telling this individual, making these threats to this individual?
I asked that individual to contact her to get my belongings back.
Did you also from their text that you would be showing up wherever she was when you got out?
To retrieve my belongings, yes.
And you don't believe that that can be taken as a threat?
She,
After the fact that you have made comments that you want her to die?
I didn't say that to her. I said it to someone else.
Did you admit that you said it?
Yes.
Do you deny that you sent prior text messages in May threatening her?
I don't remember. It's been so long ago.
Do you think that it's reasonable for someone to hear these threats, to have be emotionally distressed from these threats?
If the threats were said directly to that person, yes.
And you admit having made these statements?
I made these statements to another individual, not her, yes.
And nothing further than
All right. Okay, did you have any other witnesses, sir?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I gave you an opportunity to admit any physical evidence in rebuttal. I have enough information to rule, however, at this time, and I don't believe that that is necessary. Based upon the sworn testimony offered in open court before this court, I find the petitioner has met her burden of proof. The court will issue an injunction for protection against stalking violence. This will be in place for a period of 5 years unless extended by the court or modified prior to that time. Either party has the opportunity to file a proper motion and have a hearing take place that will address whether it should be extended past the 5-year period, modified prior to the 5-year period, or dissolved altogether. So at this time, the injunction for protection against stalking violence is issued. The court finds that the statutory criteria has been met and the evidentiary burden to prove that has also been met. With that in mind, the court issues the following injunction. I will read it into the record. Final judgment of injunction for protection against stalking violence after notice is issued. I'll find he was properly noticed, he being the respondent. The injunction terms are as follows. This would be in full force and effect until 2027, December 6, 2027, unless modified by either party by order of this court. Modified by order of this court at the request and proper motion and notice of either party. Prohibited acts, the respondent will not commit or cause any other person to commit any acts of stalking against the petitioner, including stalking, cyber stalking, aggravated stalking, or any other criminal offense, resulting in physical injury or death. Respondent shall not commit any other violation of the injunction through an intentional unlawful threat. The respondent shall have no contact with petitioner unless otherwise provided. There'll be no exceptions. The respondent shall not go to nor within 500 feet of the petitioner's confidential address or any residence that she may live at, and may not go to nor within 500 feet of petitioner's employment. I can't tell if that was supposed to be confidential or not, so if that is an address you'd like to have included, please read that into the record at this time. All right. May not go to nor within 100 feet of the children's school. Do you wish to place that into the record to be added, or would you like to leave that confidential?
I don't know if it's necessary, but I can leave
It
it.
remains.
I'm sorry.
I can leave it confidential.
Okay. Because an injunction has been entered in the state of Florida, the respondent is not legally permitted to own or possess any firearms or ammunition. Therefore, that will become the order of the court. And that will complete the order that this court is issuing. I will tell each of you, if there's some dispute about personal property, that is for a civil courtroom. Everything I've heard here today is anything but civil. If you have things that you'd like to get back that you can't agree to exchange, that goes through the civil division of the court that has proper jurisdiction. Any communication about any of these issues directly to the petitioner will be considered a violation. That is the order of the court. Copies will be provided to the petitioner following this hearing and will be provided to the respondent at the address on file. Do you have any questions about the effect of the injunction, sir?
No.
Ma'am?
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Good luck to you folks. This will conclude the hearing in this matter, and council can give direction as to any motions that anybody wish to have filed as it relates to any modifications or extensions. Okay? All right. This concludes the hearing. We will be in recess for paperwork, and you guys can have a seat outside, and then the respondent will be excused. Thank you so much.
Narcissists have the confidence of the competent without the competence. And so what they do is overclaim their contribution. If you work with a narcissist, everything that goes wrong is your fault and everything that goes right is their doing. And they will
So, there you go. You know, when you go around telling lies and the truth can be shown, you know, like everyone's been saying in the chat, there's your receipts. What do you know, you guys heard everything that I heard, you know, just I don't even think it's like lack of awareness. It is just like, in my opinion, just bold, and like I can't even think of the words right now, you know, just yeah, the truth wins. And what I have been doing this whole time is using his words against him, you know. And he has been going around telling people, he downplayed this whole situation. He jumped on the fact that people didn't understand that he wasn't charged with stalking, and therefore all of this is false. No, people just didn't know exactly what an injunction or an injunction hearing for protection, a protection order against stalking. They are civil for right now. When they become criminal, will be, I don't know. I have seen him. My thing is that with the law, the way it stands, he has been allowed to inadvertently, by proxy, talk about her for weeks and defame her name and her character over all of this shit. And that should be included in stalking. I know y'all have seen it like over and over again. He even named her in one when someone asked, "Who has your stuff?" He said, "Crime Geek." And then other people were allowed to, their comments were not deleted from Julie Melvin is the name of her channel, on that channel, and her little gross live she did. In the comments, someone says her name, Crime Geek's real name, should give him back his stuff. She has given some of his belongings to the person that he had asked her to give them to. And I wouldn't give that. I wouldn't give it. Like, you're dealing with someone who collects things that he can blackmail people with. And he has done other things that are, he has done this to other women. And he may say, that's not me, da 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 da. But who else would have those images? And who else would? He did it to Jess. Many of us saw that with our own eyes, where he released photos of her. But what he does is he knows just the boundaries to not cross, by showing a side profile of like a woman undressed. He's done things like, I've heard this from several of his past victims, that he has taken video and pictures of them without them even knowing, and then sending them to them later, basically saying, shut your pie hole or I'm sending this out. It's, you know, I like I've said before, if he wants to go and have a channel about making mud pies, and even if he wants to go and have a channel where he teaches other people how to use Audacity, you know, like, go do your thing. Do not victimize victims of your past, victims of your future. Like, by victims, I mean, there's two categories of those. There is anyone that gets into a personal relationship with him, because he's blackmailed many other people that he was not in an intimate relationship with as well. So, and he likes to say, you know, he tried to twist the whole thing with him taking the money from the money pool for Nicole Bowen and Ray, and tried to twist that whole thing and downplay like what he did, and that he, of course, he blames it on Jess. You know, she stole the money. And then the thing is he doesn't tell you is that he never gave the money to the person that, like he said, I gave her $25, and he did. And I have stated that in past lives. And then he wasn't at a court hearing, but someone else was. This is the story he tells. And that person gave the money from the money pool to them and doubled it. The part that he's not telling is he didn't give that person the money to begin with. He gave them the amount that was in the money pool plus doubled it out of his own pocket. Greeno kept the money from the money pool, and he also had the $40. So he twists things to make it appear like he is the victim. He is the one that is being lied about. But But what was it he used the other day that made me really chuckle? The what is the word? Preponderance of evidence. Well, guess what? The preponderance of evidence is not in your favor. When have I not? Okay, my first live that I did about him, it was a rant. And then I said, I need to prove this stuff. If I am going to state things, then I need to show the receipts. And I proceeded to do that. The court documents were all shared on the screen. You can look at them and the vile things that he has said in those. I pulled up the videos that he's done, the Smule scam. That was a scam. So he says, no one can prove that I scammed them. Well, you scammed your members with that one. Like, that's like a blatant one. Like, you have scammed so many people. Like, it's laughable to think. And he's got to twist just enough. And he comes off just, if you don't know what you're looking for, if you haven't researched, to me, it don't take a rocket scientist to see the coercion and the covert manipulation and the outright just lies. Like, you can. But there are people that you can give them all the proof in the world, and they are going to they're not going to listen. And those are not the people that I do these for. I do these for as a preventative. We all see crimes after they're committed. We see the fallout from murder. Our system is not set up to have preventative justice. These injunctions are to be preventative, but has Greeno said in his own words that he said in my chat, I don't give a fuck about those. POs don't mean shit. I don't give an F about those. What more do you need? When someone says, I'm proud of my 7 felonies, and that means I'm not someone who should be fucked with. A person like that does not belong in the true crime community. He doesn't. And watching him use other creators, some of them unknowing, some of them completely knowing exactly what they're doing. Some of them don't have any clue. And he can purport that he's all of these great things and that he is such a great videographer and producer and he's going to make a movie and he's written, like this and that. And then on that same Greeno radio live that I recorded, he's like, I'll show you the proof. And then he never one time shared his screen to show anything, not one thing. Like, and he wants to say that he never, and then, he gets all indignant about the comments about Michael Catt, or Michael Stroop. And I've spoken with Michael's family. They were under the impression by Greeno that he would share their GoFundMe that they were having for their family in order for their family to be able to come here and have a celebration of life. Greeno didn't do it. He said that he would, and they were on there like, can you share it? And he acted like he couldn't find it. They had sent it to him. And he did not treat Kat well over the years. There are many people that can testify to that. Like, and for him to, how dare you question, he was my best friend, blah, blah, blah. No, he was someone that he used, just like he's done to Randy Gravitt. And I want to say right now, I do not want to see people attacking Randy Gravitt. I'm about over it. I don't like it. It is not okay. And there are many reasons that I feel that way. And he should be supported by this community because out of the goodness of your heart, like, there are some people that do not mean harm by the things that they do. And then there are others that do mean harm. They do mean to do harm. And, yeah, so I have been, as someone else, think it was, let me look it up real quick. There was I might be able to find it pretty easily. Hold on. I want to make sure I get the name right here. I'm trying to find. I can never find where the mentions are. When someone like mentions your channel, like I'll find them when I don't need them, but when I do need them, I can't find them. Like, what button do I hit? Let's look on my Facebook. Freedom Unchained. So Freedom Unchained got wind of my live that I did about Mark Sumrell, who has been sentenced to life without the possibility of parole for the last offense that they, through the third strike law, which I believe that it was used improperly. Like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, life without the possibility of parole. His third offense was shoplifting a $39 jacket from Kroger. Okay. He has been in prison since 2003 for shoplifting. And previously to that, he did have a possession of cocaine, not to distribute, just that, and another shoplifting charge. So based on these three charges, they can say they're violent or whatever. To me, they're not. And this man has been in prison since then, since it is 2023. And he is sitting in Mississippi prison. That's absolutely ridiculous. I want to know, in the state of Mississippi, how many pedophiles they have let out, how many murderers they have let out, how many other violent offenders, rapists have they let out while they keep a man like Mark in prison who deserves another chance. That's my point. Someone like Mark deserves another chance to prove and to be out. Life without the possibility of parole? Are you kidding me? That should be reserved for murderers and pedophiles and rapists. Like, that's what that should be reserved for, not shoplifters. Are you kidding? But Garino likes to say, oh, give me a second chance. Give me a second chance. Carroll County has, how in the hell did they let him out? I'm sorry. I try to be so supportive of like law enforcement and government officials. I just really struggle with the fact that this man was allowed to stalk and harass and threaten violence upon people from a jail. Like, and get out. Like, how is that a thing? How is that a thing? Like, somebody help me understand. I don't understand. Threaten to kidnap people's children and kill her. And it doesn't matter if you give me back my stuff. And then what was that about? Shoot, like, I don't even want to say it because it's just like gross. But something sexual in her dad's face. Like, who thinks that's an appropriate response to getting back your stuff? And all of the things that he's been trying to say, like, against me is further proof of his intimidation and the spreading of things that are definitely defaming my character. And then he has all of these groupies that he's even said, it doesn't, let's find it. Because this is one that he said, while I was incarcerated, people just made things up about me, and none can back up their claims. Plus, I had already told everyone about my criminal history. Oh, no, he had not. No, he did not. Jail doesn't bother me. I go so much because it's obvious I back up what I say. I don't care who has anything to say about it. Remember before when he after one of his last, like when he got out, the one that I was mad about because someone put out a video for him of like, help me, help you get so that I can get out and talk about the cases that are important. Nicole Bowen and Ray Hainish. That's what pissed me off. He was using their names, their cases, so that he could get people to send him money so that he could post his bail. And then he gets out and he says, jail's a vacation to me. This is the same vernacular that he's used over and over and over again. In one of them, he literally said, what do you expect from a con man? He's just a con man. Like, he admits it himself. That's why this has been about turning his own words against him. These are not things that are just pulled out of thin air, like, pulling a rabbit out of a hat. No, these are the things that he says, that he has said. And that's why it has been important for me to show my work. And there is no... The things that he claimed in that petition were absolutely false. That absolutely it's laughable. But that's what he is trying to do to discredit me. And Graz fell for it hook, line, and sinker. No shocker there. Let's be real. Hey, CD. Yes, Cleo. Aspen is a great guy. I love him too. Nicole's product reviews. Hello. She is really good. I don't know if you guys have checked out Crime Geek's channel, but she's done some amazing videos. Like, really good. Thank you, Unmasked Truth. Hey, Deb. How are you? Definitely go back and watch this one. Just more showing the truth. You could get these types of things, and then how is he going to refute that? How is he going to spin that? I think Burn After Reading asked that earlier. I'm sure he'll find a way. More bullying and whatnot, and it just doesn't apply. Not when someone treats people the way that they do. There was a woman that wrote to me, and she had receipts. I won't show them because I would never, but he stole, he basically was trying to blackmail her, not in a relationship, but trying to blackmail her into sending him a very large sum of money. And if she didn't, he was going to release her financials. I won't share that, but I do have the proof of it. But his own family members, it just, it's just go do something different. Go make videos about, there's so many other things. He loves to go on adventures and see new places and go to haunted houses or whatever. Go do that. Be a producer in that. Just stay away from the true crime community, because I feel that every single creator, every single podcaster should not want someone like him in the community. And, hey, Fibro. Hey, Divided Kingdom. Unplatform predators. Yes. Yes. Simplest way to put it. And he told Michelle Barton when she's she ain't someone to be messed with. If you wanna someone that just lays it out, that woman is awesome. And I lost my train of thought. The whole thing that he claims, he showed that March for Justice, and that was his proudest moment and whatnot. And unfortunately, his addiction. No, they all know the truth. And not a single one of those people, that I am aware of, still speak to him. They don't want anything to do with him because he screwed them all over. And then to Michelle, he says something, what was it? Did you protect your son? Why didn't you protect your son who was killed? And then she goes at him, and probably in Julie Melvin YouTube channel, where, the arguing back and forth, and he or one of his videos, maybe he said that. And then it's are you kidding me? You hurt all of the families. You discredited the whole entire movement for the changing of the laws with the senators, because once they found out who we were aligned with, they were distancing themselves from everything good that could have happened from that. And then in that Green Oak, these people have tried to insinuate that I had a relationship with Anna Williams. Hello? Some of you all have been here all 6 years. And when him and Kat had a channel together, he is the one that said that. He is the one that said she's just mad. She's mad. He got kicked out of a memorial for the girls because I'm sorry, but his live like reenactment of Abby and Libby's final moments was tactless to say the least. That's just how I feel. I don't feel like it brought any understand, like it was just horrible. And imagine them having to watch that or hear about that. He gets kicked out, and then he's the one that is spreading that, oh, she just didn't, like I rejected her romantically, so she's mad at me and doing all that. He did the same thing with Cheyenne. Got on Reddit and said all kinds of vile things you can find them on there if you type in Anthony Greeno and look through Reddit. The things that will pop up if you type in, a few keywords, you will see what he said on there. The way that he uses his own children is vile. And this has been, look at all that Crime Geek has had to go through, her family, when the tornado of him landed in there. And he wants to downplay the relationship, like, and then he said that in his Greeno Radio Live that I recorded, like I barely knew her. And then he also he has to mention their sexual encounters, which is just gross. Like, why? And basically that we all got in her ear, and no, you saw the proof, you heard the proof in this, and this is based on the chirps. He did that to himself. Like, he is the one that threatened her life, or her kids, her mom, her dad. Like, and then he'll say, when I get mad, I say things. Like, that's supposed to be an excuse. And then he'll add manipulative tactic that he often adds, is to say, you guys would do the same thing if you were mad. If people were harassing and obsessing over you and putting all of your stuff out online and you're not able to comment, ain't nobody's fault but your own that you went to jail. Isn't anybody's fault but your own. Like, point blank, period. And you do these things to yourself. And the people that support him are allowing, the thing is if they truly loved him and wanted the best for him, they would stop enabling him. So there is some kind of supply that they are getting out of their support of someone like him. He is undeserving of a second chance. Why? Why? You guys tell me, why does he not deserve a second chance right now? Why does he not deserve a second chance in this community? Oh, it's past 12, Ray, but yeah. But yeah, 12 o'clock. 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 12 o'c he is mad at them, and he will do the same to them. Oh yeah, absolutely, Monica. Yeah, I agree with you there, SP. Past behavior predicts future behavior. That is his MO and pattern. And he has not had enough time to earn the trust of this community. He has not done so since he's been out. He thinks that he hasn't done anything wrong. There's no accountability. Therefore, there's no, he said that he doesn't have anything to change. And what does changing have anything to do with the work I do? I have said that I changed as a person because there is honestly nothing to change. Most of the allegations on me are false and unprovable. Anyways, many articles and footage are available to reuse on sites where a credit in the description, which is exactly what was done prior to your inaccurate evaluation. I suggest you review the entire description prior to criticizing. And this was aimed at El Gaucho for calling him out on him taking the new like Delphi connection to the Stevenson case, where he made a video and just like basically just, like copied him. But he's so great, again, it's like, let's just because like Garrett Kurtz, he's one that he can be really, really convincing and charming when he wants to be. I witnessed it with my own two eyes in court. And imagine that, you guys know all what Garrett Kurtz has done. Now imagine that he is released. Never going to happen. But imagine, and he decides that he's going to start a YouTube channel about true crime. And he's going to state, everybody makes mistakes. Don't look at what I've done in the past. Look what I'm going to do in the future. Now watch my videos and pay me all your money. Give me all your money. Not one person would I would hope, would support Garrett Kenneth Kurtz. And he's also said, well, I'm not a murderer. I'm not this. I'm not that. What you are is a person that does not belong in the true crime community. You do not belong anywhere covering true crime cases. You just don't. You have used and abused the families that you have worked with. You have lied to them. You have manipulated them by telling them your false sob story. Yeah. There's just no, grifter's gonna grift. Yep. I mean, said it before. You can find it on my Facebook page. What do they expect from a con man? And it's always convenient how information is just like people are, making fake accounts. And that's why he said that a lot of what was said in the articles that were read by Burn After Reading and That other guy, I can't remember his name, but no, there was no, there was a retraction, and it was literally like it had nothing to do with really like anything about him. It had to do with just like a line that like the wrong week or something. Like it was something really simple. He doesn't have, he didn't. And then he says, I've had the proof for a really long time. Do you really believe that? Like that if he had the proof to prove those articles that have been the bane of his existence for 6, 7 years now, some of them longer because they predate his true crime involvement, because before this, remember, he was the bail bondsman, and before that he was, making movies and grifting off of wheelchair basketball teams and working with that one dude who is a legit like domestic terrorist. Like he is considered. There are reports about Stanovich or Jim Stanovich or whatever, that him and Greeno were big buddy going around fires, and like they were the ones that were interviewed by Liz Owens. Like that dude is awful. He's terrible. Like he is a horrible human being. Like the things that Liz Owens reported about were absolutely the truth. There's nothing to dispute about that. These are real journalists. And he thinks that just because he says it, you should believe it. And how dare you not believe him? And most of the things that he accuses other people of doing is exactly what he's doing. It's almost like a Freudian slip on his part. Like projecting, like an easy way to lie to you. Yeah, Liz Owens, I hope that she does a follow-up. I think it would be, yeah, really, are you talking about Stanovich gaslight you? Yes, like literally, it's hard to spell it, but if you Google that guy, so much pops up, and there are videos that'll just make you sick to your stomach, Oh, yeah, Michelle, I can see that. Yeah, totally, like ridiculous. No, I've said it before. I don't give my forks away on unnecessary things in life, like the McDonald's drive-through, or the person at Crow. I don't even go to the store anymore, but like just unnecessary forks given all over the place. Like I don't do that. I save mine up for something that I deem important enough to give my forks to, and I don't give a fork who doesn't like it. Like that's just who I am, and that is what I have done. You can say obsessed, you can say all of that shit. Doesn't really bother me, especially for someone with OCD. Like, yeah, duh. Like, and it's not an obsession with him. It is, I get OCD around like getting the information out there and making sure you show your work and making sure that you live a life that at the end of the day, you can sleep well at night with what you have put into the people that you love, the people that you are friends with, the people that you try to help and protect. And that's a day well lived. And I'm not going to apologize for my behavior. It is not stalking. I do not contact him. I do not show up where he is. I do not have any involvement in them, even though he has tried to get me to. And why is he trying to get me to? Gray Hughes Investigates called it. You want me to email you so that you can turn around and say, look, they're stalking me. But he's the one that has come into my life. And I let him say whatever you want. I will not have him on my platform because I am not going to let someone of that caliber be on my live, whether it is a debate or not. You just don't entertain anything that he stands for. If someone wants to go on his and give him back all of the bullshit that he has been delving out, I'll totally get down to support that, you know? Yeah. Yeah. The thing is like, I don't play a character. Like, I am who I am here in this closet with my shower curtain, which now I did get an upgrade, so it's like super cool. When I leave this closet, like when I go to work, when I go to my jobs, when you don't live a life that is based on a lie or pretend to be something that you're not, there isn't anything to, like, you're not gonna stump me. You're not gonna like, ooh, you got me, you know, because if you live your life like with the most honesty that you can, we all have, you know, like different sides. I call myself an oxymoron all the time because, you know, I can be viciously nice sometimes if the situation calls for it, you know, like I can, there are nights when me and Chaotic and Aspen and whomever else, like we let loose, we have a good time. And that's a part of my personality too. I can do these cases and I can be very serious, and because they require that level of respect. And when you are who you are, you don't have anything to hide. But when you are trying to put on a persona that you want people to buy into, the real you slips out. And what people are not wanting to, they're wanting to just kind of, oh, you know, he just had a bad day kind of thing. No. That's him. The persona that he wants you to believe is not him. When he slips, that's who he is. Oh, you are? Cool. If you need any help, let me know. Yeah. Isn't it cool, Suter May? That's like super cool. I wonder if, let me see something. There. How's that? That kind of makes more sense, doesn't it? Well, thank you, Jamie, and thank you for what you do too. You know, like just being able to deliver like punches in a quick and concise manner and just like get to the root of stuff is what I think you bring to this community, and being able to help all of us that don't understand the whole trolling true crime, or, you know, trolling like as a thing on, you know, like a, and so thank you for that. And thank you guys all for your support. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Again, thank you, Jinx. Thank you, Professor Pug, for your super chats. They do help. You know, we try to do good here. And, oh, has it been bad tonight in this chat? I don't think I've seen too much, but yeah, I've seen it at other places. Yeah. And that was the one thing that the judge said, just to wrap this up, from what I've seen here, is anything but civil. And she gave him instructions on exactly the process. And did he do that? He's saying that people have papers. No, he's just lying again. No one's gotten anything. No one's been served as of yet. You know, like, what else are you going to say? But no, you're wrong. You're lying. But she gave him the channels to go through to see about his stuff. Personally, I'd take a 12 gauge out in the backyard, and that thing might accidentally get shot. Especially, yeah. Yeah. But, you know, my thing is like, he thinks that he is owed things back. He doesn't ever trace his life back to where he is the one that's actually responsible for it. You failed a drug test for, what did the paper say? Showed it on my screen. Marijuana and methamphetamines. And then you chose to flee from the probation office and proceeded to flee to Florida. Like, you made that choice. And then you want to blame them for your extradition back because of the lengths that they went to protect their daughter when she wasn't thinking, when she was blinded by his manipulations and still in a thought she was in a committed, loving relationship with him. And her family saw him, and he's like, well, I only saw them for like a half of a day of a holiday. And yeah, and they were able to get his number right away. I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to me after they tried to find the truth about him. And that led to me. You know, and the thing is there are, like with Mark Sumrell, he deserves a second chance. We all do. The people that don't deserve a second chance are the people that try to use that against you, that use second chances as a way to manipulate the audience, the person, the loved one. When second chances are used to manipulate, they should be called out for what they are. I don't give a flying fork how spectacular you think his work is. It's not an excuse to keep enabling someone like that to prey on this community. And, you know, girl, Crime Geek, what I've told you before, like what we had a great conversation the other day, just like, it was just so refreshing, healing, just so many things. We laughed so hard, and was talking to her about a situation in my own life and another friend of mine, and there was a pattern of choosing the wrong men. And I told this friend, look back over the last decade, look at each relationship. What did you have to give up of your self worth and your self esteem to stay with that person? Because they each took something from you. And until you recognize that pattern and you're able to say, that person took this from me, I let them have that because I wanted to stay. I wanted to believe in them. I wanted to think that I could be the cure for that person to be a better man. And by the time you go through a few of those relationships without realizing what all you have given away of your self-worth, it will just begat. But when you decide to stop and analyze what exactly you gave up in order to love that person, and you put all those pieces back together and you rebuild who your self-worth, the love you have for yourself, all of those relationships are not mistakes anymore. They're life lessons. And they taught you for the future. You going through those things, and this applies to anyone, going through all of those things, if you learn from them, they are life lessons, and those are invaluable to your life from that point forward. Because now you can use that to, maybe you had to learn the hard way. A lot of us do. But once you're able to rebuild yourself, the right one will come along. And when you take the time to fix and rebuild that self-worth, you no longer made a bunch of mistakes. They are life lessons, and those are invaluable because we should all be striving to be a better person every single day. And what happened with my loved one was they had an aha moment. And it got to a point where if you date this person, I am going to unleash a whole slew of people that are just going to be, like, this is not going to work out. I'm putting my foot down. This person is horrible. And I'm not going to let you give any more of yourself to someone that doesn't deserve you, because you don't know what you deserve because you've given it away to all of these other men. And when that loved one of mine took the time to rebuild herself when she wasn't looking for love, he found her. And this dude they are married now with a beautiful child and a white picket fence, a baby, and a couple awesome animals, pets. And he is the best one, besides like some, I won't name them, but my dad is one of them, and my brother, my man, and this man, like, he is everything that she has always deserved. And that's because what happens if you have an unbalanced relationship of someone that lacks self-awareness and someone that is self-aware and they are building themselves, you don't attract healthiness. You attract where you are. And so when she was able to rebuild herself, she attracted this man and he attracted her. And there's a song, it's called, we were talking about this too, it's called Get Me to You. I think it's Leanne Womack. But like all of the things that you have to go through in your life, and everything is getting you to that. You went through that for a reason. And it's also why it's upsetting when Greeno tries to use that as his manipulation of why people should give him a second chance, because there is no self-awareness. There's a huge chasm of lack of it. And hey, Lipsha. But yeah, and so when I look at my loved one's relationship, and just, never underestimate kindness in a person. I've told this to my kids over and over again. Like someone that is genuinely kind. There's so much that you don't have to worry about when you're in a relationship with someone that is genuinely kind. And kindness is very easy to spot. Very easy. It can be in a 5-sentence conversation with someone that you can figure out whether they are a kind human being or not, and are careful with other people's hearts, just like what Ray Hainish said. Be careful as to not leave permanent scars on someone else's heart. And I think that a lot of us just go through life just kind of lost sometimes. And it makes me sad. But then there are those happy ending stories. And I'm so happy that my loved one has that. And but with someone that is kind at heart, like you don't have to worry about so many things, because it's effortless for someone that's kind to love you the way that you deserve to be loved. And I hope people understand what I mean by the word kind. All right, guys. Yeah, I don't know, Professor Pug, if Rick Snay is or not. Greeno says he is, but he's yet to do it, and that was supposed to happen, like a couple weeks ago? So I would think that Rick backed out, was like, yeah, no. We shall see. Thanks, Pigsfly. I appreciate you. I hope you guys all have a good rest of Sunday. Get a hold of me, Crime Geek. Go check out those channels that I linked. Those are the ones that I, love. And True Crime Deb, too. She's been she's starting to build a really good place where you can go to get just quick updates on things. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is Deb's. And then a lot of times where you will find me hanging out is obviously with my girl. Why is this not popping up? I like to hang out on Sleuth. He does some really good lives. Sleuth Intuition. It's a Criming Shame. I always have so much fun there. And I think all of the other ones, yeah, obviously you were who I was talking about. I have all of these in like a spreadsheet, but I never even end up going to it. So there is possibly going to be a live on chaotic beauty and crime later tonight. So stay tuned for that and subscribe. Please subscribe to my... I'm going to get real cheesy because she loves... Chaotic loves cheesiness and like just like she's just such a like a delight and like, you know, just like a warm fuzzy. So my bestie, she is rolling her eyes right now. But yes, go check out my bestie and subscribe to her channel and watch some of our old shows. We get kind of ham up in there. It's a lot of fun. See? I knew it. Love you, bestie. Let's go to, we need to take another trip to Costco together. Because, you know, I just feel like I need to spend $300. It's like you can't go in that place without spending $300. Like, I don't know what happens to me in there. I turn into a shopaholic. I hate shopping. I despise malls. I have not been to a grocery store maybe 2 or 3 times just because I had to. Like I couldn't like pay my kids to do it since before COVID. Like I hate going anywhere, but I get in Costco and I love it. It's another one of those oxymorons. Hey, guilty as AF. All right, guys. Hey, Randy. All right, guys, I'm going to go. Been on long enough. Thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the super chats. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and please share, you know, get the truth out there.